Hey everyone, editing Alyssa here. Thank you so much for your patience on this episode. Life really needed to take precedence over editing these last couple of weeks. Today, I am so excited to bring you an interview I hosted with my great friend Madeleine Dopico while we talk all about mental health and how to support yourself during the stress that is audition season. Don't forget to rate and subscribe wherever you listen to the podcast. It helps us grow and find new followers. All of the resources that we use and mention are up on our website and on our Etsy shop. Ellen and I are so excited to keep getting episodes out to you, and we'll see you soon. Hi, how are you?
Fabulous on this Friday. How are you?
I'm doing so well. It's a rainy Friday here in New York. But Madeleine, my love, I would love for you to introduce yourself to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Alyssa. Hey, y'all. My name is Madeleine Dopico. I am a licensed therapist working at a private practice on the Upper East Side with adults of all ages and all ranges of backgrounds throughout New York City. I am also a singer, songwriter, performer. So I believe so much in what you're doing with this podcast, and I try to combine the two whenever possible in my work, in my life. So thanks for having me here today.
So, if you didn't know, I am a full-time yoga teacher, but Madeleine and I actually started working together in a mental health integration series that one of the studios I work at hosts, which is super exciting. We're trying to expand it further. And I thought, what better place to expand some mental health love than right
Woo!
here on the Modern Singer podcast? Because also, mental health, what is it on the 10th? Mental Health Awareness Day.
Yes, on Tuesday, Mental Health Awareness Day, World Mental Health.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
So,
we
World
love.
Mental Health Day is on the 10th, but all month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So let's set up some love because audition season is coming. All of us know
Yes,
how stressful that can be. No
yes.
matter if you're in New York, if you're in Chicago, if you're in LA, if you are doing things virtually, audition season is hard. Audition season is stressful. So I want to talk to you today, Madeleine, about how to make your head a nice place to live this audition season and beyond. Stepping into an audition room is hard. How can singers find joy and not judgment in all of the amazing and challenging work that we do?
Awesome. I love these questions. Yeah. So I try to combine some of my work as an artist and as a psychotherapist and coming up with mantras like that and concepts like joy, not judgment, like make your head a nice place to live, to try to boil these things down to something simple that we can remind ourselves of even when we're stressed. So joy, not judgment, a tool for that I love to use personally and professionally is flipping the script. So why don't we actually practice this a little bit? I'm putting you on the spot, Alyssa. Think of
Yes,
something
free
when you're
therapy.
walking in. Yes. HIPAA compliant. She is not my client, I promise. Um,
Oh, no.
so, so if you're walking into an audition room or stressing out about something, what's a judgment that comes to your mind about yourself, about the process, what have you?
Mm. For me, it tends to be, well, they already have a soprano that they always hire for everything. And I'm nothing special. I'm just a blonde little soprano. There's a million of us. And it is what it is, honestly. And why do they need to hire me if they already have one?
Okay. So let's do an exercise with this. A lot of
Mhm.
those judgmental statements. So they always have a soprano. How could we make that a joyful statement? How do you find any joy in a positive spin on that and flip the script?
Hmm. Oh,
If
I
they
didn't know
always,
I was going to get in my feels today.
yeah, if they always have a soprano, what does that mean about sopranos?
I mean, we're always very hireable. There's almost always a soprano role in everything, which is super exciting. Um,
Ooh,
I really love getting to see my soprano friends rocking their socks off and
I mean,
partying in some amazing music.
heck yeah. Great. So this little comment you made about being a small, little, blonde soprano, how could that be a flipped script, joyful statement?
There's a lot of blonde characters. Like there are characters like Blunchen. She is literally her name is Blonde. Like which is
Dope.
really fun.
So
um,
fun.
Other fun things. I have never had to be wigged for a show.
Ooh, your girl over here totally wore a blonde flapper wig in college.
Oh my
Queenie with the
gosh.
blonde, and Madeleine Dopico is very far from a blonde. So, you
Oh,
know,
yes, she
new at
is.
this
Oh
moment.
my gosh. Yeah, I think the only show I was ever wigged for, Lamau, it was Cats. I was in a
Stop.
bright red, short little bob wig. Not even a bob. It was like this itty bitty cut with like it was carved into cat ears. It was so fun. I had to cut it, which was worse
Wow.
because I am bad at that. She didn't go into a hair salon for a reason, and the reason is I am not the best at making straight lines, but I am very good at other things. So I leaned into those skills.
So we lean into the joy, not judgment. And we are thankful that you are a little blonde with blonde rolls that are highly available and always needed, and that there's lots of opportunities, right? And then I think
Yeah.
you said something about why me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
flipping the script is part of that, but also when our brain is asking too many questions, I think we all know that most people like answers to things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We like to question things, but sometimes if we're overly questioning without stopping, if we are overthinking and over questioning, that causes some anxiety, that causes a little bit too much alert and motion there that makes us uncomfortable in ourselves. So it can be really helpful when that discomfort has gone too far and isn't serving us. I think we'll chat later about the positive use of discomfort, but if it's not serving us and we need to calm down, right? It can be
Mm-hmm.
really helpful to put an answer to your whys. I always say, answer the what if, craft a narrative for the why. And it actually doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. You're never going to be able to prove that, right? But it's more about giving your brain and body an answer so it can stop scrambling and questioning and feel grounded and safe. Whether you create one yourself, doesn't matter. Okay. So why? Let's create a narrative. Let's
Oh, I
answer the
like
what
this
if,
game.
answer the why. Why
Okay.
would they choose you?
Why me? I just had an audition yesterday,
Mhm.
and my why me was anyone can
Amazing.
sing this role and do a really good job with it. But I think that I bring a genuinely human understanding of the plot, of the character, of her wants and needs. I think that I am a very good and genuinely human actor. Something that I really enjoyed that I heard recently was actors. The reason why people cry at theaters and cry in shows are because actors are the ones who make emotions safe. I feel like I am a
Mhm.
very good vessel to show and express emotions to make an audience feel safe experiencing those emotions.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So in these two narratives, we have there's a million sopranos. I'm just a little blonde one. Why me? Right? So that's an
Mm-hmm.
option. You can rock that narrative all you want. Or there's, damn, there are so many opportunities. It's dope to be a soprano. I am so glad that I am blonde and I can Queenie was a blonde at Wild Party It Up without having to wig like my friend Madeline. And I love being around all my soprano, high singing diva friends. And, maybe they won't choose me, but maybe they will because I'm really passionate about this. I bring a human element to it and I can sing this shit. Woo! So those are two options. That one is an option. It is just as valid as an option. So which one do you think leaning into is going to serve you?
Oh, definitely the second one.
Great.
Definitely the second one.
Again, I hear all the time from clients, from friends, from professionals, from fellow musicians. But I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's too complacent. I don't know if that's being too nice to myself. I don't know if it's delusional. Is it right? Is it wrong? Is that good? Is that bad to believe? Where's the proof? Where's the universal answer there? Instead, how do you ask which one of these serves me in this moment? Which one of these is going to bring the energy? Which one of these is going to bring the love, the vibe, the joy, not the judgment? Which one do I have more to gain from? Does this world have more to gain from by me leaning into? Which one, Alyssa?
Oh, definitely the second one. And I am a huge proponent of manifesting as well.
Ooh,
And it's what you put out in the world comes back to you tenfold. It's a karmic yoga philosophy of the more joy, the more good you put out in the world, the more you receive.
We all benefit by you being happier, more self-empowered, more safe in your
Mm-hmm.
skin. Um, the world doesn't need more angry, resentful, small people, right? Like we
Yeah.
all stand to gain from you feeling empowered, confident, compassionate. It's making your life better, but it makes our entire world better. As cheesy as that sounds, but it's Friday and I'm pleased. Yeah, so why not lean in?
Exactly. I do feel like I'm one of the weirdos, and I actually really enjoy auditions because I like to think about them as very tiny performances. And I feel like going in with this joy, not judgment, with this fun excitement makes
Yeah.
them more fun. But audition season is also notoriously stressful for everyone involved, not just the people singing, but everyone behind the table as well as the pianist. Everyone involved needs something. From learning new music to recordings to travel and more, what are some tools to use to stay kind to yourself, to be kind to yourself in your own mind and the words that you use towards yourself when it can feel like the world that we exist in is out to get you?
Yes, I love that. So, as you and I have collaborated on in some of our yoga classes, positive self-talk is so real. Our inner dialogue matters. The words we choose to speak to ourselves really matter. So a few tools I like to discuss with that. There's some research that shows that speaking to yourself in the third person can be really helpful. It sort of creates some emotional distance. I think a lot of us have experienced that it's almost easier to be kind to someone else than it is to ourselves. It's a very natural,
Yes.
normal human problem, right? So it can be helpful to speak to yourself. Say, hey, Alyssa, hey, Madeleine, you got this. You can do this. It can be helpful to think of someone you would cheer on. What would you say to them when they're stressed out? What would you say to them when they're losing their cool and they want to lose their shit at that pianist, right? What would you say to them to help them feel a little bit better in that moment? How can you turn that in, say, Alyssa, and say that to yourself, right? Some of
Mm-hmm.
the other positive self-talk tools I love are to inject levity and humor. We often get so bogged down when we are stressed, taking things so seriously. And we don't want to invalidate that. We don't want to minimize that. But we also want to understand that it can be okay. This is all right. We're safe. We're fun. There's joy. This is a little silly. We can shake it off, right? So I love to inject humor. Sometimes I will ask clients to call themselves a silly name when they're speaking to themselves.
Oh, I love
When
this.
I am riddled with anxiety, I call myself Mamita Monkey. I'm Latina, Mamita in there. Um, so sometimes I just say Mamo for short, but I'll be like, I'm freaking out. Oh my God, I have to do so much work as a therapist and I'm organizing event as a musician and an entrepreneur, trying to bring the two together. We have a yoga class. I'm a failure. This is too much. This is too hard. This person isn't getting back to me. Nobody gives a shit about this. No one's, all right, Mamita Monkey, eat your banana, take a breath, right? Myself out of it. That laughter just calms me down in that moment, creates a little laughter, creates stress reduction. It calms us down. It's very natural, right? It releases some happy chemicals to zhuzh over some of that cortisol, some of the stress ones. So speak to yourself in a compassionate, kind, direct way. Give yourself grace, pump yourself up. You can even, a tool you and I have discussed with self-soothing and self-talk, you can bring touch into it. So if you
Mm-hmm.
would calm someone down by tapping them on the shoulder, you actually can do that with yourself as well. It sounds so silly and strange, but I swear by it. I do it all the time. You can give yourself a little rub on the shoulder. I do this really awkward little like self shoulder kiss. I've been doing it since I was a child. It's bizarre.
Oh, I
It
love
calms
that
me down,
though. That's so
right? It's like
sweet.
help. You're safe in your presence. You're cozy. You're comfortable. You're cared for, right? We don't just have to be
Mm-hmm.
cared for by others. We can be cared for with ourselves. So notice, notice the words you tell yourself. Notice the negative perspectives, the minimizing, the black and white thinking, the over exaggerating, invalidating, and just say, okay, what would I say to someone that I care about here? What could I say to myself that's a little more positive, that would feel good here, right? How can I speak to myself directly? And how can I speak to myself with intention?
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, mine that I like to say to myself and to literally everyone, because sometimes when I'm doing something, all of a sudden random words come out of my mouth. They also surprise me. So
I
my
have
go-to catchphrase, oh my gosh, you've seen me do it so many times, literally in the middle of class, me saying words, stopping and going, what?
I
No.
love it.
But my go-to catchphrase, I even just got it embroidered on a hat because I think it's hysterical, is nothing is real and everything's fine. Nothing
I
is real
love
and everything's fine. Rights and lefts,
love
categorically fake.
love.
Yeah,
Find your mantras, find your words that work for you.
exactly. Something else that we've talked about a lot in our work together is sitting in stillness. So,
Yeah.
how can sitting with this stillness in times of stress, like learning hard things or on difficult travel days, on days where you step out of an audition and your pianist played it half the tempo it was supposed to, or they double timed it on accident, how can sitting with this stillness, even for just a few moments, be beneficial for your own growth?
Oh, I love that question. Okay. It's really, really hard. It's really,
Mm-hmm.
really stillness, especially in New York City, especially as artists, as creatives, as hustlers. Woo! Quick singer story that came to mind. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. In college a cappella, you pen off the beat, what up? Shout out. I I was singing Love on Top by Queen Bee. Yes. So that has key changes on key changes on
What?
there are already an illegal, should be illegal amount of key changes. The group, as college a cappella can do, we are all beautiful, fallible human beings here, went quite sharp. I want to say like
Ooh.
at least a step, if not a step and a half sharp in
Oof.
already a shit ton of key changes. So by the end, your girl is like a college kid in a weird dress, like that's velvet and probably like tie-dye, shouting. Like I was legit shouting like a little kid at an ice cream truck to get these notes out.
Oh my
And it was
gosh.
not cute. It was not cute. It was rough. I had to walk off that stage and just be like, oh, okay. I was in multiple kinds of physical and emotional pain. And I wish that I had known then what I know now about sitting with stillness, both before and after something like that, rather than driving myself nuts and beating myself up and thinking about what could have been, running wild, trying to solve it, trying to excuse it, trying to make sure there were no videos of it available on the internet, right? Whew, Queen Bee, I love you. And if she can do that when it goes sharp, then honestly, let's just make her president now. Like I already wanted to,
I would
but
be down for that.
it's a test, I think. Yeah.
That's a great test.
So some stuff for sitting with stillness, right? So it can be really uncomfortable, because a lot of us are not used to it, because that's often not how our world works, right? But something about constantly being on the go can signal this alert stress phase, right? And this alert, high alert phase that we are not built to be in constantly, this fight or flight, stress, go, right? It almost makes us think that we are under threat. It makes us think that we are not safe, right? So I like to say that stillness helps you say, I don't have to fix what's not broken, right? So you're trying to rush and fix and rush and fix and rush and fix. It can signal that there's something broken. So what sitting with stillness can do, and that means just lying in silence, taking a walk, finding the deliciousness in doing nothing, lying on your bed, combing your hair, don't care what it is, right?
I've even done
Just
it just sitting on the train, putting my headphones on and turning on white noise.
Beautiful. Whatever that looks like to you, or if you get uncomfortable with your thoughts, that's okay. Notice them. Don't try to judge them. Don't judge yourself for having them. Just notice what's coming up for you mindfully, right? And then just try to be, right? Just try to be. And when you stop trying to fix, when you stop trying to chase, a lot of the time you can feel more grounded, more safe. And then when you feel comfortable in your own skin, right? We like things that are comfortable. We are comfortable with things that we know. We are comfortable with things that are familiar, right? Most people. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I think often we find familiarity comforting. So when we sit with stillness, it makes us just more attuned to our own presence, to our own being, right? And then when we're more attuned to ourselves, it's more familiar. So if it's more familiar, it's more comfortable. When we're more comfortable, we are calm. When we're more calm, it's lit.
Oh my gosh, it's so much lit. So much
So much.
lit. What? I do it all the time. Oh man, adding the levity in. But yes, finding this stillness to sit in, it's just, it helps you drop back in and
Ooh,
it helps you drop back into the present moment. Something that I like to talk about, especially in my yoga classes, is the Buddhist philosophy of meditation, where we're not looking for an empty mind. We're not looking for free of thoughts. We're looking for a lack of grasp.
mm,
We're just not holding on. The metaphor that I like to use that I heard is it's kind of like you're laying at the bottom of a stream and you can see the fish and the sticks and leaves floating over you, but you don't have to reach up and hold on to them to know that they're real. You can look at
mm.
that and say, yes, that is a stick, and then let it move on. It's the same thing
Yes.
with thoughts.
Absolutely. A phrase I like to use with clients that I describe that as is own it, don't control it.
Mm-hmm.
Just own it. I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this, I'm experiencing this. This is mine. This is my experience as an organism in this moment in time on this earth. This thought, this feeling, this experience, this is what it is to be me right now in this moment, right? And that's fine. That's who I am in this moment. That's who I need to be. I'm going to own whatever I'm experiencing without stressing myself out to control it.
Yes. Yes. Because sometimes it's not about controlling it, it's riding the wave.
Hell yeah.
You don't always have to be in charge. That's something my therapist likes to tell me. I don't
Oh,
always agree, but
right. Hey, this therapist and singer struggles with it too, trust me. And look, like, let's, that just tickled a little thought in me. It's half baked, but go with me. Mind body connection as singers. Think of how much
Mhm.
we have to control everything. Control, not just the audition process, trying to have your music and your sides and your book and getting there on time. Okay, but just vocally, physically, controlling our breath, controlling our placement, controlling our posture. There is so much control that is beautiful, that is part of our craft. But then how cool is it too when you get so lost in it that yes, you are still controlling it because you're a master of your craft, but that control is a comfortable one where you are not so focused on it in a stressful way. You are just experiencing what you're doing and it feels so good. I like call it the stage blackout. And I don't always
Yes.
get to that, but like sometimes when you get there, right? Have you had that?
Yes, so many times.
Oh,
It's my favorite feeling.
exactly. And so I think in my mind anyway, that's this like not being so attuned to our control can feel so good sometimes. So why not invite ourselves to try that elsewhere, to try that when we're just hanging out on a Friday after recording a podcast with a friend? Try it when you're waiting for an audition rather than control this, control that, control. Just let go, sit with stillness, notice instead of trying to control every single thing.
So that actually just reminded me of something else that you've mentioned in our classes before. And you've talked about urge surfing, which pops up a lot for me when I'm sitting with stillness. Is I get these urges that I have to do something because sometimes my brain is sitting there going, sitting is dumb, meditation's stupid. What are you doing? Go do something. You want food, you're hungry. So
Yeah.
urge surfing. Can you
Yeah.
explain how it works and then some tools to help let the unhelpful urges pass you by, acknowledge them, and say, cool, thank you, no thanks?
Sure, I will speak to what I know. So urge surfing is, and by the way, everything you're describing is normal. Like that
Mm-hmm.
is so normal to have the experience of meditation's dumb, I'm hungry, this is hard. All those things are completely valid and don't need to make you think that you are not good at it, that you are not zen enough, that you are not practicing enough. It is just a normal human impulse. Notice that too. Let it go. I agree that meditation is so hard. Holy crap, I'm so bad at it.
I'm a
But
yoga teacher. I lead meditations, and I think meditation is hard. And I think that people don't realize that it is an ever evolving practice. It's not
yes,
something that you're just good at, it's a muscle you have to work.
yep. And it can show up differently on different days, right? Progress
Mm-hmm.
isn't linear. It is hard. And what do we always say? It's hard and we can do hard things.
We
Both are
can do
true.
hard things.
So back to urge surfing, it is a distress tolerance skill. You can learn more about it if you read about DBT therapy, especially. I know it's often talked about in dialectical behavioral therapy. But urge surfing is when you feel an urge come on, and it's like a wave, right? So you have a trigger, something that triggers that urge, and then you feel it getting a little more intense, and it feels sort of uncomfortable, and you want to do something about it. And then it heightens, and you really want to just scratch that itch, right? Because rather than sitting with the stillness, rather than understanding and acknowledging, I am uncomfortable, and that is okay. There is a certain, of course, safety matters, feeling safe matters, but there's a level of discomfort that's okay and that is temporary and that will pass. But at that peak of the urge, at that height of that wave, it can feel like it's going to last forever. Our tricky little brains, right? Can make you think it's going to last forever and you just want to get rid of it. And it's almost this, for me, it can be a lack of faith in myself to ride the wave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then rather than facing any lack of faith in myself, rather than feeling that I can do it, I just want to run to that fridge and eat something that I don't need in that moment. There's nothing wrong with eating food. You know what I mean? I'm using your example.
Mm-hmm.
Scratch that itch, right? But research shows that actually most urges will subside if you just ride that wave for 30 minutes. That height is not going to last forever. So if you notice it, it's getting more intense, it's getting more intense. Okay, I'm uncomfortable, but there's an element of this that is okay. I know it is temporary. Let me see if I can just let this pass for 30 minutes and see if it lessens. And then you find your own way of doing that, whether it's getting into a different activity that you like, whether it's sitting with stillness, whether it's calling a friend, doing some exercise, moving your body, whatever that means for you, putting your phone away, right? But giving yourself 30 minutes to know the urge will pass, to say that this discomfort is okay, that most of the time, situation dependent, but it's not going to kill you, right? You can do it. You've done it before. You can do it again. I like to think about an example of when I've surfed an urge before, when I'm like, oh, I want to scratch the itch. I want to scratch the itch. I'll be like, okay, have I surfed a wave before? How did I surf that wave before? If I've surfed a wave before, I can probably do it again. Let's give it a shot and let's find out what's on the other side. And often, if you can surf that urge, sit with that discomfort, be kind to yourself about what's happening, understand that it's normal and that it is temporary and it will pass. A lot of the time, about 30 minutes later, you're not going to feel it as strongly. It's just another experience of something that's passed through you.
I love that so much. I love that so much.
It loves
So
you
in
too.
our yay, in our last couple of minutes together, because we are going to get kicked off of this, I would love to talk about just like a little journal prompt that you can give us to work on as we grow this positive self-awareness muscle and
Mm,
being able to drop in and stay in the present moment and also being able to just like get what we need out of our lives.
yes, awesome. I will give you one of my favorites. Friday, I am snacky. We've talked about cheese. We
Oh
said have
yeah.
ice cream. So now I'm going to go on to pizza pie, dessert pie. You choose your pie, right? But I like to try drawing pie charts, right? To tune into your thoughts of what you can do this with thoughts and feelings, by the way. So what do I think about on a daily basis? What do I tend to feel today on a Monday, on a Tuesday? Obviously it changes, but let's stick with the thoughts example right now, but you can apply it to feelings or apply it how you'd like. But what do I think about on a daily basis? Let me draw a pie chart. Whoa, I probably think about food this much of my pie chart. I probably think about logistics and my to-do lists and where I am with my to-do list, this amount. I probably think about bullshit body image issues, this percentage of my bullshit, calling my own out, not calling anyone else's bullshit.
Oh, mine is bullshit too. Don't worry.
I love
It's also
bullshit.
wrong and incorrect factually, which is fun.
Fun things. Do I think about work? Do we think about family? Do I think about dating? Do I think about outer space? Do I think about Beyonce? Like, what is it, right? Draw a pie chart of your thoughts when you are busy on a work day, on a whatever, or maybe you're tending to your family on an audition day. What is it on a busy day, right? What does your thought distribution look like? Now draw one when you have time for yourself. Where do your thoughts go? Where do they go when they're not being so triggered and directed in where you need to be? How does that pie chart change? And then lastly, what would you like that pie chart to look like? What's missing entirely? What is taking up way too much of the pie, such that like you probably need to cut some of that off, throw that like kind of rotten piece out to make more room for that nicer piece of pie that I want to put on my plate, because there's only so much room on there, right? Like, yes, I am such a humanist. Our potential is unlimited in so many ways, but our capacity and our energy and our time is not. It's not unlimited, right? So it's sacred. It's ours. What do we want to do with it? How do we protect our peace? How do we protect our pie? So what are you thinking about in a busy day? What are you thinking about in stillness? Where's the distribution? What are the proportions? And how do you want to tune into that? And how would you like that to look? And what behavioral, mental health, social, professional, whatever it is, artistic, what changes do you feel that you can make or set out to make to try to shift your pie a little bit to make it absolutely delicious and something you want to consume?
Even Beyonce only has 24 hours in her day.
It's true. It's so true. It's wild. It's mind-blowing. I don't know how it's possible.
Truly.
But
she deserves at least 3 more, because if I worked as hard as she did, I would need a lot of more naps.
Same. Same.
Oh, well, Madeleine, thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm so excited to introduce you to our Modern Singer family. So where can everyone find you, your mental health work, your music? Give us your everything.
Yes. So again, my name is Madeleine Dopico. That is Dopico. And on social media, I am Dopico. So the word I-A-M Dopico. All the fun socially things. And then I do have music on Spotify, Apple Music, what have you, YouTube, everywhere. And I am coming out with some new music that is mental health driven, mental health inspired. So I'm really excited to be combining these passions, combining these worlds, because they are so linked. And I am just so happy to speak to anyone who's passionate about either or both of these fields. So anyone listening, if you want to reach out to me professionally or personally, creatively, what have you, I'm here. Don't be a stranger.
And all of Madeleine's links are going to be linked below in our show notes. Be sure to check them out. Madeleine, thank you so much for being here. And everyone else, we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. And thank you, everyone out there. I hope you have some great pie. I hope you make your head a nice place to live, and you consume something delicious in your day.
Oh, what a good way to end.